When thinking about the things or people that kept you on the right path of life, most would usually say parents, pets, Jesus, hell, probably your favorite pair of socks you found on clearance. This book saved my life. In the dark period of my adolescence when life was just going to keep sucking, I found this book at a Barnes & Noble's one day, and reading the back cover, I learned that me and the main character Craig Gilner had some things in common. I didn't live in New York, but always did find myself being the awkward third wheel in social situations. I wasn't attending some pre-professional high school, and yet felt all the same anxiety and pressure that comes from school. And most importantly, I thought my only solution at the time was to kill myself and be done with it all. But you know what? Craig was feeling the same way, and I felt a little better knowing that someone else understood me. The story follows Craig in his time in a psychiatric hospital, which reflects the real-life experiences from the author himself, Ned Vizzini. During his time admitted, we meet all these zany psych patients who have much more problems than Craig, unravel some drama within Craig's social circles to get a better idea where all this stress is coming from, and get a reminder about the good in life, which acts as the main appeal for reading this book. So, after many years of it collecting dust on my bookshelf, I gave it another read, hoping that it was as amazing and life-changing as I remembered. It wasn't. You know the feeling when you write a first draft of something and feel immensely proud of it, but you sat down for like a week or maybe 2 months because you bought the latest Pokemon game, or your girl just be trying you, and when you finally come back to remembering you were working on the bestseller, you freak out from the absolute shit smeared on that paper? That was my reaction in a nutshell. The line between what works for a teen but not for an adult is something amazing. I guess my mind just kept the moral of the story fresh, while little things like writing or three-dimensional characters were skimmed, and it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I was just surprised to see the target audience painted so clearly. Smoking pot, the crazed obsession with girls and sex, the language and method to communicate with the reader is nothing more than raw honesty, which works fine. Ned did an amazing job capturing the essence of how teenagers act and behave. My only concern was that there wasn't a good balance between Craig's thoughts on weed and girls and how he's changing for the better. You kinda had to search for those. Like this one great scene in the book that acted as a major realization for Craig and, on some level, the reader. He meets with Dr. Minerva on the day before going back to the real world and is showing all the progress he's made with the activities and patients. Then she makes a simple suggestion. If he's so miserable at this intense competitive school, why not just go to a different school? It's an option. Not one that most people will be willing to choose, but it's still there. We tend to mask our hidden desires and tough it out so that we don't appear weak or say that we can't handle it. But who's calling you weak? Who's saying you can't handle it? People like Dr. Minerva or Craig's mom are perfect examples of what a good support system should look like. Unconditional love and genuine concern for the client. The world is a mixed bag full of heroes and assholes, but as long as you have someone to turn to when life gets too bleak, you'll never have to feel alone. And these were the kinds of life lessons that the book taught me. The reminder that I have choices, that I don't need to be stuck in the same routine that made me so miserable in the first place. And I could even say that this book brought back my sense of humor. From awkward teen cringe to funny jokes, Ned makes an attempt to make you smile. And 9 out of 10 times, it works. So what do you get when you add Ned Vizzini's story, plus humor, plus good feelings, but minus the hormonal writing? The 2010 movie adaptation. It's sappy, it's heartfelt, Zach Galifianakis is cracking jokes, but even he can pull off a strong dramatic performance.
I couldn't make it to the bridge, I just came straight here.
What stopped you?
My family, I think, my parents, my sister.
See, this is the part I don't get, Craig. I mean, you're cool, you're smart, you're talented. You have a family that loves you. What I would do just to be you for just a day. Like, just live. Like it meant something.
As an adaptation, it puts a lot more emphasis on the healing process for depression and suicide and makes the characters a little more organic and realistic. Because as much as I like cool Craig in the book, getting a girlfriend without much effort and becoming the answer to everyone's problems is a bit of a stretch. So, Going back to the book, is it the most well written? Not really, but I still place it in my top 5 for how impactful it was to my life. Ned Vizzini had a voice I was willing to listen to because at the time, I knew exactly what he was talking about. The constant invisible pressure dropped down on you and the inability to speak up and tell someone you need help. Not even that, just a terrible idea that you're a burden to those around you. It's wonderful people like Ned who remind us to see the worth within ourselves and how sometimes we got it good compared to others, so we shouldn't let that opportunity go to waste. Nobody wants to see you fail, and certainly nobody wants to see you dead. I've only learned about this recently through research, but Ned Vizzini himself committed suicide. I can't even imagine how it was at the time, right after he inspired thousands of readers, including myself, not to give in to the darkness and try to love ourselves for who we are. I wish I could have met him, to thank him for saving my life, to thank him for writing this life-changing book, and to reiterate those same words he told me when it mattered most. Run, breathe, love, live.